All right. I guess we are live. We're on air. Amazing. Hello, everybody. Hello from Cyprus, I believe it's in English. Hello from Cyprus. Hi, Anupa. Hi, Anne, Vincent, and Arakan. Super excited to have you here. How are you doing? While we are waiting, we're gonna wait for 2 minutes for people to come up, join the stage, join the chat. And while we are waiting, let's start with the ice-breaking question, as always. Hello, Vincent. Hello, Yana. Let's start from the ice-breaking question. And the question for today is, what's the weather is like today in your place? So just drop in the chat what's the weather in your place and where you are. And I'll start first, obviously. So I'm in Czech Republic, and today we have 30 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't really remember how much it is Fahrenheit. It's probably like 80, 90. I don't know. It's hot. Hello from Tenerife. Oh my god, I'm jealous. It's probably amazing there though. You have a sea. We don't have sea in Prague, obviously. Only rivers. Alva super hot. Well, how much is super hot? Is it 25 or 30 or 35 or is it 40? For me, above 30, it's always hot. Berlin today 27. That's good weather actually. It's not too far from Prague, but we're 30, so it's at the limit of being okay. 45? What? Adakan, where are you? Is it Fahrenheit or Celsius? Oh my gosh. In Turkey, Adana. Oh yeah, I bet. Well, I do hope there are no fires or anything like that that are currently happening in Greece. Tripolar in Bogota. Ooh, nice. 19 in Helsinki. That's cold. It's always like 30 is hot, 19 is cold. Wow. From Venezuela, 23. Oh, that 29. It's great. I would be happy probably in this desert. Too hot. Austin, Texas. Oh yes, I bet. Stockholm. So we kind of have everything from 90 to like 45, I believe, the biggest. Toast. A toast by nice. Good application. It's like when it's minus 20 outside, you can use it as a fridge, right? I would love 20 degrees. I'm melting. Yep, exactly. Exactly. You can make an omelette too. Amazing. You didn't use a stove or oven. You can save. Great. For everybody who's joining, we're discussing the weather in different places where you're joining from. Feel free to drop your location and how much degrees is there in your location right now. But I'm gonna get started. And for everybody who's joining for the first time, you also have an opportunity right now to drop. Let me say where. Let me see. Let's drop it in the chat. I think it will be easier. Your portfolio link, so I can add it to the randomizer. And this is your last call to drop your portfolio link. I already have around 18 portfolio links for today. But if you still want your portfolio to be reviewed, drop your link right now in the chat. I'm gonna wait for 2 minutes and then we get started. All right, cool. I'm gonna start adding those links to the randomizer. Yeah. I wish there would be elevator music right now while I'm adding the links. So imagine I'm singing. Okay, so Vincent, I do think we have your portfolio already, but I'm gonna add it anyways. I'm gonna use the same portfolios that we did from the previous meeting. So I think some of the portfolios we already have in the backlog. Okay. Oh, okay. 2, 3 more. Good. Drop your portfolio if you just joined. This is the last call, and I'm actually getting started in 1 minute. All right. I think I've copy pasted all of them. Yes, I believe so. Amazing. Great. So we have, let me see how much, 26 portfolios. Amazing. That's more than last time. Now let's do the randomizer and we will get started. Let me share my screen. I'll do this. Let me see. I'm trying to change the layout of the screen. I don't know if I can do it. Anyways, so I'm gonna share my screen and see who will be window. Who's gonna do it today? Whose portfolio we're gonna review? Um, so let's see. So the first portfolio we're gonna review is Mikola Korsh. Amazing! I believe you have submitted your portfolio last time, so congrats. This time we're gonna make it. Let's remove it and see who else. The second portfolio will be Vincent. Yahoo! So the second portfolio. Oops, I think I. What happened there? I think I also need the previous. Oops, sorry. Sorry. I need Mikola Korsh portfolio and some Y. It was removed, but Mikola, maybe yes, I remember it. So great. Cool. We have two amazing portfolios. I have previously seen portfolio by Vincent and Mikola. Mikola, I believe I've seen it, but like very briefly. So I think those portfolios are really good. Spoiler alert. And we're gonna start going through them one by one and see if there's anything that we can improve there. So before we do that, let me quickly chat. Finally, yes, Vincent. So we're gonna go for portfolio review. Let me see if I can change the view. I'm gonna do that like this. I hope it will be better. So we'll start from Mikola, sorry. And meanwhile, if you have any questions or comments, so drop the comments in the comment section. And if you have questions that we can review later, drop them in the question section. And after we finish this portfolio's reviews, we will go into the questions. You can also upvote the questions so we can see the most interesting questions first. Cool. So, Mikola, I really love this font. I believe it's Ukrainian font. It does give me a Ukrainian vibe. So it's really, really beautiful. I am like in love with this. So let me start. Well, basically, I'll start from my first impression. And meanwhile, I don't know if Mikola is on in today. That orange, I love it. Yeah, me too. I don't know if Mikola is today in the chat. If you are, please drop in the chat right now what companies are you targeting so I can kind of wear the hat of the company from their perspective, try to analyze what I'm seeing and what fits, what doesn't. Um, Meanwhile, I'll start with my first impression, come back to the chat and see if you are here today. So I'm Mikola. I'm an energetic UX UI designer who really enjoys solving complex problems and bringing great experience to users. Ultimately, I strive to inspire, elevate, and show. Wow, this is a really good intro, to be honest. It's one of the best intros I've seen in a while because very often I see intros where it's like I like to create usable websites that solve problems. I don't know, that are aesthetic and stuff like this, which are usually the attributes of the any designer, like of anybody who needs to do this, right? Any designer has to do this. And you're given a very specific answers to how you stand out in front of the other. So first of all, I love this intro just because, and I guess for everybody, the reason why I love it is because it's tangible and it gives me an understanding who you are as a person. Who am I going to work with, right? So you're giving me keywords that I can associate you with: energetic, enjoying solving problems, and then I also like the words like inspire, elevate, transform. This is amazing. Like those are the words I usually don't see, and they give me a personality. So first, kudos to this. Now I'm gonna check the chat, see if you're in the call today. No, you're not. All right, so I'm gonna just assume, or I'll kind of assume which company you're targeting or applying to. Um, so one thing I am missing here, and maybe it's in the about page. Yes, it is. It's your picture. Well, which is okay. So usually I personally, me, it's not a rule of thumb or it's not like a must, but I prefer seeing photo in the first page because then I don't have to, I have a bigger and more like complex impression about you and I don't have to switch to the different tab to see who you are. However, if you're applying to enterprise companies such as, I don't know, bigger companies, corporations, I don't know, Microsoft, IBM, then the bias is a big problem there. So removing the bias, removing your photo could be better option if you're applying to startups, scale ups, so later stages startups, or even early corporates such as, I don't know, Uber and I don't know, like Airbnb. So companies that went public, went through the IPO in the last couple of years, then it's still okay to add your photo. So as soon as the company is like a corporate, then it's really you should be very careful with the photo. But the typical user journey is that as the hiring manager, I have seen your CV first. So I didn't have any bias there. There was probably no photo, which is recommendation. So I kind of analyzed your CV and I said, I want to see your portfolio. And once I have approved your CV, now the bias is not a big problem, right? So I can actually be more interested in your personality and trying to understand you. And seeing photo here would make it a smoother experience. That's my rationale behind seeing it in the first page. As I'm scrolling down, um, I'm seeing, let's see, 4 projects. And let's say I have mixed feelings, mixed impressions, because some of those projects look better, some of those projects do not look as good. There are 2 comments here, actually. So um, your your positioning right now looks like you are between the web design, because this thumbnail gives me a web design kind of vibes, and the next 3 projects gives me a strong product design feeling. And it's really better when you have a strong direction. So you're either a product designer or a web designer. It's not super common today yet. So you're identifying yourself as the UX UI. By the way, I don't know why it's gray when you select it. It's not a great experience because I want to focus on the text I select. And it's kind of hidden right now. I don't know if it's a good idea. Anyway, so you're positioning yourself as a UX UI designer, which means you work on different things, and that gives me a freelancer vibes. So if you're applying for jobs, freelancer vibes is not probably the right target, right? You want to be as targeted as specific, straight to the point to the companies you're applying to. Obviously, you need to research the company. If it is a product company, let's say SaaS company in a B2C section or specific domain, let's say hospitality or whatever, then your case studies should be prioritized toward those companies. So really have similar challenges in your portfolio. And right now you're very like you're giving me the position of being very generalist, right? Freelancer, I do websites, I do app design in different mediums is good, by the way. So I would really love to see this project right now. But the reason why I'm saying given general vibe, it means that when you are going for like generalist vibe, you are not saying you're specialist in one or another direction. And when you're applying to product design, for example, typically hiring managers would look for like strong expertise, many years of experience in the specific area, right? Not just marketing design, which is web design right now, or product design, but either web design or marketing design. And right now you just blurred it because you have different areas. Again, it's not bad if you're applying as a freelancer, if you're looking for like a kind of freelancer clients, and then if you're a startupper, like early stage startups, showing that you have wide range of experiences is actually good. I would go for it. But if you're applying to product companies with strong UX maturity, then I would really recommend to narrow it down to just those challenges that speak the same language as these companies. So that's the first comment. And because I'm assuming you're applying to product companies, I'm suggesting to maybe remove the web design project because it gives me blurry impression. Also, what I do not like is this orange shadow. It might be subjective, but I would say that in marketing design, it's just not a good practice for multiple reasons. Sometimes it's a combination of colors, for example. Maybe, I don't know, if you have like this combination of colors doesn't look very good. When I hover it, it does not give me this seamless, um, let's say, I don't know what's the word should I choose, seamless and like smooth experience. It gives me not a great match of the colors, and orange does not fit all the colors, right? For example, orange and yellow, or orange and I don't know which other color. Maybe I don't know, green would not work as well. Maybe it will, but generally talking, it's hard to guess that orange will fit all the thumbnails, and it's very aggressive. It's like it's not smooth experience, it's like to your face experience. So I know maybe you want to go bold, but I think you overdid it with this highlight. I would maybe go for like a thin, very smooth, very light shadow. Even maybe considering adding a little bit of the side of the, when it comes to the shadows, it's usually great when you replicate the physical world. So let's say shadow goes from the top, the suns go for like this, and right there is like under the car there is the shadow, and it's not going like on all the directions, so it just gives you, it's those small details that show that you have a philosophy behind your design and you're knowing every single detail matters. And when you have like shadow for all the square and the contrast is not good, or it's a little bit even aggressive, then these details turn you off. Even though I think your first impression is really strong, like I said, the font is amazing, the color is great. I think those two combination, like the dark blue with orange, works really great. um I really love your bio. It's just those thumbnails, they first create this little friction to my experience. um all right, before diving into case studies, I'm gonna also quickly read your about page. I'm from Ukraine. I like Ukraine. Try to. I'm gonna read quickly. Relocated to Germany. Enthusiastic. Computer science, which is a good thing. I would highlight it actually. Like you have highlighted Instagram account here, maybe because it's a link, makes sense. But I would look for ways to highlight keywords, because when we talk about hiring managers, they don't read very thoughtfully, right? They are scanning diagonal. So you kind of want to highlight the keywords. So I immediately learn about you more things. So maybe I would like highlight that I'm from Ukraine. I moved to Germany. I have background in computer science. Maybe your values like self-development and improvement skills. So growth mindset. This is amazing. I would be interested in kind of having this person in my company or my team. Um, Runner, coffee lover. These are the things I would highlight. So keywords that talk about you would be great. Uh, Also consider maybe using different layout, because it's like a lot of text, even though I like the size of the text because it's big and I can easily read it. I don't have to like zoom into and like, oh, so much text. So this text feels light. I like the size of it. I just think it would be better if you combine the text with the images, or kind of break it down a little bit better for me, so it doesn't feel like so much text. Maybe, I don't know, adding the photos in between of them. Adding photos adds personality, gives me, like you're saying, you're a runner, a coffee lover. Would be fantastic to see some shots of you running, or I don't know, drinking coffee. That would have more stronger impression, I guess. It would be show not tell kind of impression. Okay, so all good here. Let me see, CV. Okay. It's usually a good practice to have like a link out icon, some sort of, when we hover to something that goes, like if it's not CV embedded in this website, I would expect to have some sort of arrow showing that you will go out. You like, it's a link out. Same for the email. Yeah, I was assuming it's gonna be this. I personally am not a big fan of email links, because, for example, I'm not using email the email computer, like email app, and every time it opens up, I'm like, ah, shit, I now need to go to Google, I want to just copy your email. So maybe it's a better idea to kind of be able to copy your email. Plus, like, I don't see the email here preview, right? I can only open the app and then copy it. So it's a smoother experience. If you give me your email from the preview, I can copy it. Or if I decide to click on it and start creating an email right away, I would click on this button. But other than that, I would rather see the email name here. Cool. I think that's it. I'm gonna start going through the portfolio review. And when I choose the reviews, when I choose which project to look into, typically we would, hiring manager would usually not go for more than two projects, one maximum two, depending on how much time they have and if they are interested. So I would look for the project that is a best fit for my product company. Right now, I don't have an answer which companies you're targeting, but I think the more interesting projects to me are this app, or sorry, this Apple Watch app, and this project, because it looks complex and the UI you created looks pretty good, pretty promising to me. So I would click in either of these. And like I said already, I don't like this preview. It looks a little outdated and it gives me your marketing design vibe, which I don't think you're applying to marketing design roles. My assumption, at least, from because you have more projects that are product design focused. And this one, UI design looks good in terms of UI, in terms of the screens you have. However, again, the shadows are quite aggressive here. I would kind of like smooth them down, I guess, like this, for example, violet or purple sh shadows on the phone. It looks not realistic. It looks aggressive. It looks very violet and or purple. And even the font doesn't represent similar font because you have a very thin line here. So those details, I kind of they catch my eye, and it gives me a vibe that maybe are not a strong like you don't have a strong attention to the details. That's why those details could turn me off a little bit. I'm gonna quick firstly on this app because it looks like it's a complex app, and you did mention that you love solving complex problems. So I actually now want to look for evidence that you work with complex problems, and I want to see how you do it. Monto getting paid automatically from AP platforms to portals. I have no idea what is AP. Would be great if it would specify it. Getting paid automatically from AP platforms, maybe peer-to-peer platforms or something. I have no idea, to be honest. Um, but I'm gonna click on it. So what I usually do when I'm scanning through the portfolios, I'm trying to go through them firstly, like like scan through it, basically not read anything, build a first impression, see if this project tells me anything. If it does, I'm gonna scroll back and start reading it. And so the same preview, it's really nice to see how big is this shot. I can see the details, and it tells me quite some story already. Um, you have about concept, problem, solution, challenge. Okay, I really like the sizes of those shots. I love that I don't have to click on it to zoom onto them. Um, okay, more shots. Okay, the features, I believe. Features. Okay, there are some things to unpack here, to be honest. We can talk about it. So like I said, I do really like that you have a very big shot here. It's like it tells me the details, how you design, what you pay attention to. There are a few things that I would consider improving because this is your best shot of telling me what kind of designer you are, and you want this shot to be as smooth, as great, as attentive to the details as possible if you're applying to product design roles, of course, and not like strategic roles where strategy research and working with metrics makes more sense or impact. um, but as a designer, not strategic designer, but as a designer, product designer, then these details matter. And so few things that did look bad to me that I would pay attention to, and I would consider discussing it with you. But by the way, spoiler alert, I would invite this person to the interview because I think you're having a pretty good, strong impression. You have a good combination, composition, you have great colors, choice, you have, I don't know, you have a personality and you seem to know what you're doing. However, those details in terms of UI design give me a sort of downgrade in your level in terms of design, um, and the position you're applying to. So if you would be applying to very mature companies and senior roles, then I would not like invite you because small details matter. For example, first detail is like I see the search bar is like very not in the center, right? Again, I just can't help but you notice those details. Then when I'm looking through like navigation, for some reason we have dashboard, which is selected state, makes sense, and then you have collection and billing in different colors. So I don't know why those are different. I'm immediately asking question, what is collection? What makes collection stand out in different color? Is it something special that I need to know about? Is a hover state that I didn't do, and then the accessibility here, for example, billing connections and organization. If I were having some impairment issues, so I wouldn't be able to see very well, I would not be able to read this. It's a very low contrast. So maybe run it through the contrast checkers um, to make sure it's accessible. Few more details that I paid attention to are, for example, 9 of 16 tasks. I can see that 9 of kind of squeezed together, just doesn't look good. And then even details like line, right? I see that the padding here between fill info and this line is different than the padding here between this line and this button. So I'm like, those details do matter. Um, I could start critiquing a little bit more decisions on like why did you choose to go for the icons here. Does the icon, because we always scan, right? F pattern, first top left, and then to the right, and then to the bottom, to the bottom. And so when I see this icon, I'm like asking myself, is this the first type of information I want to see? Because clearly the titles are different. So if it will be always the same icons for the same type of action, then it would make sense because I scan through the icons and it's better recognizability. However, if you see missing info and missing documents and the same icon, then this icon makes it confusing. It's not consistent. So I'm like questioning some small things. Um, okay, so like details like this, I pay attention to them. And other small details like this. Um, sorry for like the what do you call it? Um, I forgot the words. Never mind. But sorry for going so much in depth into those details, but I'm just trying to communicate how I'm analyzing if it's a good designer or it's a, let's say, medium or senior designer, junior designer, etc. And so this scroller is very strong contrast. Like if you zoom, like squint your eyes and you're trying to see what's the most important area here and what should I pay attention to, because we obviously fight for attention in the dashboards. It's a lot of information. You want to kind of highlight the key pieces of information to not get overwhelmed. And so when I like squint my eyes and I'm trying to see something first time, I see those scrollers, and I don't think that's the key information I need to see here when you have so much, I don't know, numbers, pie charts, and then graph charts, etc., and then cards. And so I think it should be lighter in terms of the color. So yeah, accessibility here is too strong. So those are small things. That's how I see that you're not a senior designer yet, but you're a good middle designer. Um, Now, description of the project, I like that you have pretty solid context information. I'm missing here the team, who you are working with, who were your stakeholders. Are you the only designer? Did you have any other designer you worked with? That's typical information I'm looking at, because if you worked at a team, then I want to know what was your specific part of this project. I don't see here, there, like you said, UX UI designer, but what parts of this the UX design you did? Did you do the whole scope, so starting from research, strategy, I don't know, ideation, concept solving, and then UX UI, maybe design system? Or did you only do I don't know, quick, I don't know, prototyping, and that's it? It doesn't communicate it here, and I would love to see it. About the concept, problem, and solution. So I had another comment here. um, I don't think it's a good experience when you scan it super left, super right, super left, and then you have like empty spaces here. I think it would be smoother experience if you create a more consistent scanning, right? So everything, for example, everything to the left, and then on the right some pictures, or nothing, but then the text would have to be all white. But yeah, it just creates this weird friction when you scan top left, super top right, top left, and so it's like I don't know why I chose this layout. And also it's not like even what do you call it, it's not a layout that aligns to each other. So you can see that this text, like this part of the text, is not aligned to this part. And so maybe it's like a creative solution, but for in terms of user experience, it creates friction, as for me. And now, oh yeah, and now it's this one is full size. So it's like three patterns here: left, right, the whole width. I don't know, but let me read it. About the concept, companies like payments. Let me quickly read it. Okay, it's a little bit abstract. Companies make payments, payment platform, AP software. I don't know. I did not envision what you want to tell here. Maybe it's just a little abstract about the concept. I didn't understand what's this project about. I mean, I understand it's a payment project. There is something about procurement and suppliers portal, but I didn't get the matter. Would be greater if you just create a brief sort of one brief section when you just tell both what's this project about? So payment, I don't know, in this domain, and then the problem. Here's what we need to solve because what's the evidence of the problem, and then maybe the key solution or key impact, all in one section. Because when you break it down like this, also in a weird layout, then it doesn't give me a substance. So I read, I get bored. There's a bigger opportunity or bigger chance I'll be dropping out because I get bored and I just don't want to read further. There is a growing demand for buyers to work with their AP. Okay. When such a deal is closed, process must be completed for any bills. Okay, I think I got it a little bit better, but what's the problem? is that is maybe what I'm assuming right now is that it's not a problem, but you wanted to create it from scratch, so it's an opportunity rather than the problem. Problem means, or maybe the problem is growing demand, but it's still an opportunity, not the problem, because problem means in our platform we have evidence that people are struggling or people cannot achieve some things or people, I don't know, have errors in the system or something. So that's the problem. Whereas what it tells me right now is there is a growing demand and you are creating something that meets that growing demand. Um, so the solution is complete automatic financial onboarding for portal customers. Makes sense, good. With Monto, maybe not solution, but since it's a story and you're telling me a story of what you're about to tell me, what you've created, would be better to frame it not into like, this is what I've created, but more as of the aim was to create automatic financial onboarding for portal customers. Um, okay, you will have full control. Maybe not you, but who is the target user? So buyers would have full control of the visibility over connections, right? I'm hiring manager. I don't care about still using this product. Challenge. My mission was to design new sections from one to web app, existing design system. Okay, good. And challenge was to make all sections pages consistent. Uh, okay, I don't think there's a problem here. So this thing is a very confusing part for me because again, the problem is when you have seen if you did the research, you figured out there is a real problem, but I think that's just an opportunity you're designing for whatever reason, for a growing demand here. And that's the challenge was, I don't know also if I would call it a challenge because it was like the aim, right? The goal. And the challenge is again when you have some constraints, when you have really strong complex product or problem area, and you are trying to and figure out how to solve it. And here it's more like a goal. My goal was to design the new sections, given the growing demand, right? So that's like just like a little confusing in terms of the information you're giving me. Upload and voice, and now you're telling me the features. So here, I think you're communicating very, very strongly that you are a UI designer and not the product designer. Also, very strong positioning of, let's say, freelance designer, not the product designer. So really, it depends where you're applying. If you're applying to product design companies, it will not make a cut in terms of the story. When you're applying to freelancing, I think it's a good, it's a good enough structure because freelance clients, they don't care about your process too much. They only care about your, I guess, area of domains of what you worked on, and then the UI, the features, the problems you have solved, and maybe the impact, right? The metrics, the improvements for the business, and stuff like that. And so the design process is not as big. But if you're applying to the product design companies, then I'm missing a huge part here, right? You are saying me the context, which is good. I mean, there are room to improve, but in terms of context, you're giving me the context. And then suddenly I don't have any story. I immediately have solutions. By story, I mean you said there is a challenge. I mean, right now we figured it's not a challenge, it's a goal, but you're having a goal. And how do you go from having a problem or having a goal to these sections? Um, did you do any research? Did you figure out any insights or findings? Was there something about user habits, current user habits that you needed to consider? Maybe some constraints, because you mentioned you're using existing design system. Maybe some constraints that you had with design system that you had to work out, or it was just as simple as UI design. I used some UI blocks right from design system, and I just put them together based on what I guess product manager or business analyst or whoever you were collaborating with, maybe the PO, uh, told you to build, right? So at the moment, you're telling me you didn't do any research, you didn't do any explorations, you didn't do any discoveries, and you just put together components into pages. That's it. That gives me a very strong UI designer and also not strong seniority level designer vibe. And I don't know if that's your goal. I don't know which level you're applying to, but I would not, like, if you're applying to junior or maximum middle in a not so UX mature company, I would invite you for the interview. But if you're applying to senior design roles in the product companies, you didn't tell me a story, so I cannot understand who you are, and I'll probably just skip it. I will not invite it. Um, the upload. Okay, so then descriptions of the features. Let's discuss the features that you have designed. In terms of the text and the, like, let's say, amount of information you're giving me, it's actually really good here. So it's nice that you give me a like name of the feature, and then you have a very big feature, like you have a great details here. I can analyze a lot of things here. Now, in terms of the copy, enables business to effortlessly upload, submit. General like tip or suggestion is to not use words like effortlessly, intuitively, user-friendly, quick, and stuff, descriptions like this, because you're leading me as a hiring manager to believe in how you have created these in like this inside these designs. But it's like show not tell, because if you're telling me that it's effortless, you're like, it's like a vulnerability kind of thing, because you're telling me that I have created the most amazing website. You're overselling it, I guess, and you're telling me that it will be amazing and it will be effortless and super intuitive. But I'm here to judge, right? Because I'm deciding if I want to invite you into an interview. So you're telling me those things. It's not your job. It's my job to understand if it's effortless enough for us to invite you for the interview. So yeah, be easy. Generally, for anybody, I would always suggest to be a little bit easier in descriptions and not oversell it with like user friendly, user intuitive, effortless, quick, fantastic, smooth, all this. I don't need to know ensuring a smooth and efficient invoicing process. Specifically, what's the user story that you want to communicate here? So I will like, you give me the context, maybe user story or this target user or this solution based on this user research, and I then see the design and analyze how user friendly it is, how intuitive it is, etc., etc. So yeah, don't oversell it. And so in terms of UI, it doesn't look bad. I think it's looking quite okay. Small comments like paddings and I don't know. I understand it's a design system, so I wouldn't add too many comments here. What I'm missing here also is like interaction or prototyping level, because it's just one screen, but we know that design is not static. So it's fantastic when I can understand the user flow. Like I said, give me the context, what user flow or what user story you were designing for, who was the target user, their habits, the context information I have to keep in mind. And then give me the prototype that I can click through, or video or GIF that shows the flow, so I can analyze how smooth is this flow, does it solve the problem well enough, or I have questions to you that I want to discuss. And just static screen, it gives me only the information to understand about your level of UI design. However, I know it's a design system based, so it's not even your UI level, so it doesn't give me so much substance to understand. And the same here. I don't think there is more to add here. Just, yeah, screenshots of the UI. I think, for example, small details I paid attention is like, is it the form? Why it is so small? like why the text is so big within this. The form I would assume have a bigger margins within the form, and I don't understand which state it is. It's selected state, not selected state, because the contrast here is very strong. So details like this, but it's probably a question about design system, so not to you. But yeah, this is all, I guess. The same comments apply here and there. Also, like small details, like write your comment here and then send with the same button. Details here actually do matter. Like, and I don't understand why this text is like flying diagonally. So I would appreciate if you could spend more time polishing those details. And that's generally my impression of this portfolio. I don't know if I would invite you, to be honest. I think I would invite you if you're applying to junior to middle positions in a not super strong UX maturity companies. If you're applying maybe to also freelancer, so like to some working with some clients, and if you're applying to startups, then it's a good portfolio. If you're applying to strong UX mature design companies for senior role, it doesn't make a cut based on many things I just mentioned. Okay, I think we're over. We're already over the time, so I'm gonna stop here for a second. See if there's any. Oops, not stop stream. Stop sharing the screen, and see if there are any comments I should pay attention to before we jump into the next project. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Elizabeth, yes, the session is recorded. So as soon as we finish the session, it will be already on a page, on this page, and you'll be able to see it later. Okay, a lot of the things here. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Yana, for sharing the link. Felix portfolio. Oh, I'll have to look it later. Mobile version of the website is under constructions. Oh, good point. Good point, Joseph. I didn't look into it. It's something I would have looked into if I would, open it from mobile. Oscary, too much text. You can increase the line height as well. Yep, good point. Accounts payable. Good point. I didn't know about it, so thank you. But seems like you're working in the payment section. I did not. Um, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, the text sensitivity. Oh, so Mikola, you will have a lot of comments to go through. You have a lot of people also commenting, so that's good. Olga, unfortunately today we will not be able to submit portfolios. We have already did the randomizer, but I will save your link and I will add it to the next session. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Okay, a lot of questions. I will go through them once we finish the second portfolio. I think we're good for now. So let's go for the Vincent portfolio. And I'm gonna share my screen in a second. Window. Let's go. Okay. So Vincent. First impression is very bold and I love it. I think you have a very good shot and explaining who you are. You have a picture here that I appreciate, as I mentioned earlier, the reason why. Hello, I'm Vincent, digital product designer, dedicate myself to craftsful, impactful experiences by acknowledging both requirements of the user and business, and then moving towards prototyping and final delivery. I also have a fervor for developing design system. Okay. It's like I would rate it 6 out of 10 in terms of the bio. I love to read bios because it always gives me what should I know about you, right? It's like your best shot at making the first strong impression. And this copy gives me general designer knowledge, something I would expect from you, like I said earlier. So crafting impactful experiences is something I expect you to do. Acknowledging both requirements, I think it's a good line. I would keep it. I think it's good that. So what it tells me is that you're like empathetic person who likes to collaborate and listen to business, to the user. So you're like, yeah, you're balancing these things. So it's a good thing to keep. And then other things such as like prototyping and delivery. Again, I expect you to do those things. You're a product designer, so I expect you to do product delivery, prototyping, etc. And I don't think it's the best shot of what you can tell about yourself. So for the context, when I land onto some portfolio web pages, I really want to learn as much as possible about you. And imagine I have like 10 or 20 or sometimes 50 tabs open with different portfolios, and you need to stand out. You need to immediately shoot. Tell me how you stand out in front of those other 50 portfolios or tabs I have in my browser. So this kind of copy doesn't tell me how you stand out. It doesn't tell me your strong power, your talent, your what kind of thinker you are, or your interests, or your even like personality traits. Like for example, I'm an empathetic designer, or I'm an analytical designer, or I have a background in whoever knows like fitness. And so I have interest in background I have transitioned to because I found that fitness is similar to UX design or whatever. I've heard different things in this industry, but something that makes you stand out. What makes you unique? What makes you special in front of others? That is something I'm looking at when I'm looking through the bio text, and I didn't get it a lot. But it's good that you mentioned you have developing design systems. You have an interest in developing design systems. Good point. Good to know that maybe in my company we are looking for designers who want to contribute to design systems. So I'll keep it in mind. And like I said, this line was good, acknowledging different sides. Oh, by the way, you're breathing your oxygen. I have no idea what it is. is it is it the quote from something, or is it you're giving yourself a title, breathing your oxygen? I have no idea. But you're UX certified, which is pretty cool. I can see that it gives me the link UX certification verified, but it doesn't give me your number. I'm also UX certified, so I know that every time you're certified, you receive like your personal like number in the certification list. And I can see in the bottom left corner that if I click on this, which is good, I can click on it and check out your your number. But the link doesn't tell me your number, your what do you call it, certification license. So it's like if I click on it, I will not get any information basically. So it would be great if I can know what license number you have. All right, case studies. We have 4 case studies, pretty cool. Or 3 case studies, it's pretty cool. I think I like the general first impression. I think you have let me see, like good enough shots here. Small things like consistency stands out. For example, you have um, sort of a thumbnail with the rounded corners here, here, and then the third one doesn't have any. It's like in the black, right? You're just having the phone like background, but it doesn't have the same thumbnail structure. So I would recommend you to kind of keep it consistent for the faster or more efficient scanning experience, because as always, details matter. So yeah, this one stands out, and I'm like questioning why it is not in the same style. And then another small detail that I couldn't help but pay attention to is that even though I really like your boldness in terms of the fonts, I think it gives me some feeling about you as a designer, because font communicate personality always. So it gives me like this bold first impression edge I like. However, I don't think the good combination of this very bold font with this text, right? Because this gives me a totally different story. This one gives me bold, big, I will like scream, not scream, but I'll shine my personality. And then these gives me like more academic, almost like New Times Roman style. And it's not a good match in terms of the personality. So I don't know if that's a best choice for the font or for the typography. Maybe subjective. And okay, get in touch. I really like the bold side here, but again, I would really love to see your email. I mean, I can copy it here, so now it's good. I expect that if I click on this get in touch, it will be again this email client. Oh, no, okay, it's interesting. So I expected to click on get in touch and kind of start a new email for you. That's what usually people do when they make those hyperlinks, but it's actually a new page, so it was not super intuitive to me, maybe just to me. Main tools. I wonder why prototype is a link and the rest is not the link. Is there something I need to learn? Because you're an ambassador, so that's what it tells me. But it was not intuitive. I don't know if it helps you, but it's a small detail that just didn't make it super intuitive to me. uh, because you're saying tools, right? Not your achievements or your side projects. Or so I expect to see just a list of the tools here and not expect to click on it and see that you're an ambassador, because that's a different type of information in terms of what's the word? I forgot the word. It's too hot here. mm, and another small details always stand out is like why the padding here is bigger than here. Like it would be great if you would have them under each other. Maybe even like this text would be also like title text, and then all the contact details would be under each other. So I don't know, just small details, but this is not a deal breaker for sure. I'm interested in reading further. uh these buttons are very bold. These buttons are screaming I have personality. I don't know if I would make it. Oh, it's bold. Maybe just slightly smaller, slightly. I don't know, but it's still interesting. Let's say, and let's see other pages. Oh, you have a lot of pages here. Good. So case studies. Okay, interesting. So you have very strongly advertising the first, make it stand out, case studies and projects. So you're strongly advertising this project. Interesting. My assumption is that you are really targeting companies in a security space if you're putting it super upfront. Um, and it's interesting you have a lot of projects. I don't know if you need to have a lot of projects, to be honest, because some projects do not tell a great first impression story. So like this project and this project, they are in terms of UI are not strong enough, I would say. Uh, I don't know, just the details again, like the colors, the amount of details you add here. Those cards don't have a lot of information there. I mean, I can read Arabic, but I can see it doesn't have a lot of content there, and so I cannot analyze it if it's a good design or not. I don't know if I would include those. Like I would really try to prioritize only strong projects. So I like this preview, I like this preview, I like this preview, even this preview, and this preview, and stream it actually has a very strong preview first impression, but the rest I don't know if I would want to show, because maybe you show it and you do not have a first and strong impression, and then you suddenly decrease your chances of being reached out. And also I clicked on it and now I don't have any story, and I'm assuming it's like a dribble, not dribble, but Behance kind of project where you didn't have any design process. I don't know if that's your intention to communicate. So I would consider to only have those projects that are strong case studies, tell the story with the process a bit, and also, clearly are targeting the companies in the same sector. I'll click on these links as well. Interaction design. Oh, interesting. So you have some playful nuggets here. I really like it. I really like it. I like to see your experimentation side. I think it's cool that you're interested in interactive design. I wonder why didn't you mention that you're also interested in interaction design in your bio? So here at the home, when you were talking about yourself, you said interested in design system, but you are prioritizing interaction design. So those are different. I mean, it's a similar stories, but it's still different because AI animations, it gives me a strong prototyper, an interest in like details rather than design system. System is obviously more holistic, more systematic thing. Get in touch, resume, prototype tutorials, which is also interesting. So with this portfolio, you're also probably targeting I guess other designers who can learn something from you, because as a hiring manager I don't need prototype tutorials. I wonder if it needs to be there, but it's a good piece of information to know that you are also creating the content. And I now see that you are very strong interaction designer, because I just seen the interaction design playful part as well as tutorials. So it doesn't tell me, your portfolio doesn't tell me you're strong in design systems like you claimed in the beginning, but it tells me you're a strong prototyper, strong animation interaction designer, which is cool. It's just like a small inconsistency with what you say and what you show. Cool. Case studies. So you obviously prioritize this first case study, so let's jump into it and read it. Mm, okay. Improved security. Okay, I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna first super quickly scan through the project, and then I will come back and start reading it. So objectives. And I know that you used my template, so it's pretty, I guess, thank you for using my template. um, okay, so we have a lot of slides here. So right, it's not the typical web design structure. It's more like a slide structure that usually would be expected to see on the portfolio presentation part of the hiring process. Okay, let's see what is my impression. I mean, like I said, I think it's interesting that you use slides for the web page. Not a very popular choice, but the critique I have, like scanning wise, I kind of liked it. I think it's a easy to scan kind of experience. Let me quickly do the mobile version because now I'm curious if it will scan well. Yeah, I don't know if the readability will be great here if I would be reading it from the mobile. So if I imagine I opened it in the mobile and I see those slides, it will be not a great experience because it's not responsive. And another critique here is that to the slide approach is that I cannot select the text. Sometimes I want to focus on some text, sometimes I need to select it to kind of match the details between different sections. And I just can't do it because it's a slide. So I think using slide structure is still better for the presentation stage when you're doing the presentation for your potential team. Um, Scan wise, if you're lucky and the hiring manager opened it from the computer, it still looks good. But now let's talk into the details. Data mobile, crypto miners, participate network. Okay. All right. So I guess the domain here is crypto miners, staking, mining, favoriting tokens. Okay. Uh, I yeah. Okay. Whatever. Objectives. I'm missing context here, to be honest. Like, let me see, because it's a like again, the key difference between the presentation and self-paced scanning of the web page is that it has to tell me all the information that I'm looking to answer. So all these checkboxes. I cannot ask you questions, right? In the presentation, I'll be asking a question. But if it's a self-scanning experience, nobody here to answer my question, then I expect you to prioritize the key information for a fast scanning and tell me the story. And so I am missing here one big piece of information is who was your team, who you worked with, what was your role, and even like some context information about the project. So how much time it took, maybe I don't know, constraints or timeline, etc. Mm, but it's still, I mean, it's good you focus on the matter, so it's not bad. It's just that I'm looking for this information and I cannot ask you this. Potential, so project objectives, strength and security measures. That's a good line. I understand what you're going to work on. And safe about managing their miners and crypto holdings. Okay, that's a good problem statement, I guess, or project objective. Why we kicked off this project? No F2A. Factor authentication. Keep losing to factor authentication backup. No, what? Okay, this is a good product. I mean, good problem to work on. I'm interested. I'm excited to read right now. Exploration analysis. Market analysis. Okay. I think, well, I remember once Vincent sent me this project, and it was like a half a year ago, so I can't remember all the details when I looked into it. But I remember that was something I said in the Instagram chat that I see here what you did, but I don't see here what you have learned. And that's what I'm looking for when I'm seeing the project. So I don't necessarily need to see the proofs of your market analysis. What I really want to know is that, okay, you did this step, so what, right? So what you've learned, any insights or any learnings or any aha moments or I don't know, any takeaways from the market analysis. It's good if you use this as a visual, right, in the background, but what I'm trying to learn here is, so what? What did you learn here that will help you to develop your project? I don't see an answer here. And it's a very important piece of information that builds the story about your thinking process. Ideation. Another big, and I believe I also mentioned it in the chat when I really quickly reviewed this case like half a year ago. I think the second piece that I missed here right away was So you started doing some research, right? You looked into market and you called it exploration and analysis. So analysis, you looked into market. Oh, seems like you didn't do research. Okay, now I got it. So I'm still like I think my big gap was that I was expecting to see any sort of user interviews or insights or even secondary research or desk research when you look online into the habits of crypto miners and learn something about them so that it could help you framing your product better. But I don't see anything. So it seems like what you're communicating here, you are driven by just copying features or looking for the best applications of the features from different companies. Um, which is not, let's say, it's not a bad approach. However, I think it's more effective when you know what your users of this app has as a habit already. So like you did said in the objective that people lose their codes, which is okay, good starting point, but why do they lose those codes? um, how do they currently store those codes? What workarounds or habits they currently have? This is the information I'm looking at when I'm considering, working on the project, and I expect you to do some user research. So I don't see it happens, and it seems like what you're telling me is just I'm gonna copy paste the best practices from other market products. So I don't know if it's the most user centered approach, to be honest. And then I think another point is that once you did the research, which I see you haven't done the user research, but if you were to do this research, I want to see some sort of brief, project brief. So based on the things you have learned on the market or user research, if you were doing it, I would expect you to say, here is what I've learned, and these are the priorities we're going to work, or these are the problem statement, a problem goal, problem, I don't know, problem brief that I want to work on. So what you have learned from this research that will be telling the farther next steps of the story. And I missed it. So it's basically, I started analysis and immediately I jumped into ideation without any prioritization or without any conclusions. And I'm missing those conclusions first. So right now, I'm not sure what you are ideating on. I don't know what specific challenges you were tackling in that workshop that you did with the three in a box kind of stakeholders. We managed to generate distinct solutions for each problem encountered. And again, what was like missing details? So what was the goal of that? I'm seeing that I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna go through it quickly now. So what was the goal of that ideation workshop, and what were the key takeaways that you decided to focus on? That's what I'm looking at, and I don't see it unless I start like zooming really quickly here. Set a passcode, emphasize why user needs to save recovery, incentivize user to update their security. So what I'm seeing right now is that your working style, at least in this project, was quickly analyze the market, similar products or similar features, and then analyze with your stakeholders what are the features we also want to, I guess, borrow or follow, or what are the best practices we want to follow. It doesn't tell me you're a user-centered designer, but it tells me you're a collaborative designer, so it's good. But remember, in the first page, you said you care about balancing out the business needs and the user needs. This project that you seem to be really highlighting in your in your portfolio page tells me you're a good collaborator, you're involving your stakeholders, you do the workshops, really great point. However, where's the users, right? You said you want to balance out users in the business, and right now I don't see the user side. So feature prioritization, we placed emphasis on prioritizing feature, establishing connections between feature and its corresponding solution. Okay, still I'm missing the story, like what you were looking like. This is right now me. I would be looking into this Miro board stickies because that's the most interesting part for me. Critical issues. Oh, this is the user research I'm looking about, talking about, or serious issues that I'm really interested in. So what I would expect or not expect, I would really love to see here is keep this Miro screenshot. It's a good one. However, on the left would be great if you have like those highlights or key things to say about your project. So we like kind of like you did here, right, with those three key reasons to kick off the project. This type of information is something that I want to scan quickly here when you're talking about feature prioritization. So what you prioritized, and then on the left or right, whatever, you will see this mirror shot where if I'm interested to see details, I will be scanning and seeing those details. But right now, I want you to do the hand-holding experience for me and prioritize key pieces of information from this prioritization. So I don't have to scan so quickly, zoom so much and try to understand it. Mm, Again, I think that's like a theme I'm starting to see here. It's like outputs, but not the story. The Like you're telling me you did user flows, which is great. I see you did a lot of job, a lot of work. But what did you learn? Like, what's the substance here? What can I take away as the hiring manager who's trying to understand your thinking? What can I learn here? Only that you did the job, or can I learn something about how you did a job, or anything interesting about this project that tells me the story on the solution? It's missing here basically. So key solutions. Now I'm excited. I want to see what happens here throughout the implementation. Notified regarding the latest features introduced on the application. You know what I'm missing here, by the way, is also sketching and wireframes or any explorations, because I see that here are the key solutions. I chose them, and I see like you chose them maybe based on this prioritization, but why? Right now I'm curious, like, okay, did you have any sketches that you were discussing, any interesting creative directions that you were discussing, or did you just say we're gonna go for this solution based on this let's say sticky note in the mirror, and I'm gonna right away start designing it without any explorations, without any sketching, without looking into different layouts and stuff like that, and just jump right into it, because I'm missing this and I'm really really interested in this, because it tells me how you solve the problem. Not that you solve the problem, but how you solve the problem. What's new? Notified. Okay, got it. Enable F2FA. Reminder. An alternative manner is okay. Passcode biometrics. Okay, so it's just a list of features. I think it's good. I mean, it's. I think you have a good UI sense. Like I kind of like the details visually here. But what I did miss, I think I make it already clear many times, was how you came to those solutions. Because you had this workshop, I had to zoom into some details. Then I didn't see any explorations on how you use those priorities, how you explore them, how you decide one concept over another concept. I just see the final ones. And also those final ones don't have like a interaction design that I know already you're very good at. So I would really love to maybe have Figma embedded links so I can scroll or see how you use the interaction design details here, or even just use the videos here like you did it in the interaction design sections of your portfolio. And it's like, uh, I know you're good at interaction design and you have built those features. How can I interact? How can I see those flows to see your interaction design in the action? Um, so and like I said, UI wise, it looks pretty good, pretty solid to me mainly. So I miss the exploration part a lot here. Measuring success, which is very good. I love that you think about it. Is discoverability and adoption. Okay, okay, good things. Following the release, conducted user inflow close. Okay, you see, you conducted user interviews. Now I'm really curious to see what users said. Closely monitored customer support interaction, diligently tracked reports from various channels within the community. Okay, it's cool. I mean, you're doing the research, user research. I haven't seen it yet. Um, all the users are now aware of their security level. Okay, so now I'm actually having a lot of questions because you said all the users, and how did you make sure? I mean, you said interviews, reports, any screenshots, any sort of evidences that all the users, like 100% of the users, were discovering it, or how did you make sure that all the users? It's a very very bold statement that all the users. Um, but it's good that you do mention those specific numbers, like safely storing, enabling. Good, good, good. Any kind of screenshots would be great here. Like, I really love that you highlighted this information, but I would prefer having this information on the left as those key points, and then on the right, some sort of, I don't know, you said you were going through the reports, maybe screenshots of the report to back up your numbers, and these numbers that you highlighted would be really great. Okay, next steps. It's good that you mentioned next steps. Would be also great if you see any, if you mention any learnings, so what you've learned in this project that is unique, but not must, just a good practice to have. Okay, that's it. We are done in this portfolio. Generally, I still think it's a strong portfolio, and I would probably invite you as like a candidate for the interview. It's just those details again matter. I guess the key thing that I would improve here is the consistency between what you say and then how you show it in your case studies, right? Because again, I haven't seen anything on developing systems, design systems, but I've seen a lot of interaction design. And then when I started reading your case study, I haven't seen an interaction design. And then you mentioned that you are caring about users in business. I have seen the business sides with metrics you pointed out, but I haven't seen any user research. So small inconsistencies in what you say and what you show um, stand out to me. And I think it's a strong portfolio. It would be just better if you could kind of finish it with strong holistic perspective on how you frame it. Okay, that's it for today. Let me stop the screen share, see what we have in the chat, and then we'll start going through the questions, which I'm already late on doing. So should you recommend the, so Gabby is asking, should you recommend the brief sentence background? I love to see the backgrounds because I know that most of the designers are coming from multiple backgrounds, right? I've seen people coming from medical background, fitness background, advocate, legal backgrounds. I'm coming from interior design background. So it's always fun to see it. And every of those background brings soft skills baggage, and it's great to see. So I personally love it. It's, don't take my, like, take my word with a grain of salt, because maybe not all the people would prefer it, but as for me, it's a point that gives you standability. Yeah, just my quote. Vincent, instead of oxygen, you oxygen. Ooh, okay, I got it. uh, those creative pieces not always read well, but maybe it's just subjective. Don't take my word for no, it's not solid. The bio photo gives me those lawyers from billiard fights. Interesting. Um, okay, Gulmin, I will copy your portfolio and I will add this to this list. Oops, sorry. Gosh, I need to go back. And I will add this to this list. I added this to the randomizer for the next time. And unfortunately, we already did the randomizer earlier. I really want my portfolio reviewed. Oh, sorry, Fred. Next time, please submit your links either here in the chat. I will add it right now, or next time in the in the Instagram stories, I will ask again to submit your portfolios. I'm collecting portfolios all the time. Just drop it into my Instagram. I will add it to the list. So we will do another portfolio review in 2 weeks. We will do it hopefully next time. Uh, yeah, thank you, Oscar, for backing me up for more sessions next time. What if your background isn't that interesting and I'm from a graphic design background? I think it's still interesting background. Um, the only thing that to keep in mind that I expect a lot from you when you're coming from the graphic design. So I expect you to be a very strong UI designer, attention to the details, great typography, great colors, great even branding designer, right? So I expect you to be very strong in the visual side of things. And if I mean, just double check with any other mentor who can say yes, shoot it, it's your strong power, this is something you want to lead your portfolio with. And so yeah, just make sure you're strong in that when you're claiming it. Yeah, Alva also agrees. Graphic design is super valuable. I agree. It's super cool to have this background. That's why to get my portfolio reviewed. Thank you, Karine, for your kind feedback. Please don't stop doing these reviews. They're immensely helpful. Oh, thank you, Jane. I really appreciate it. I will definitely do more of this. My plan is to make every 2 weeks more portfolio reviews, most likely until middle of October. That's when I'm planning to start publishing the course I'm working on. I think most of you guys already know that I'm working on the new Into UX Jobs kind of hiring strategy course, online course. And so once I publish that course, I will not be able to review the portfolios anymore. But middle of October, it's until that time we're gonna do more of those sessions. Um, okay, okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully I'll finish my first self project soon so I can send mine too. Yes, definitely. You have time until October. Okay, cool. Now let's go into the questions because obviously we're out of time, but I still want to make sure we are, answering the biggest questions. So Neil is asking, by the way, while I'm going through the questions, maybe we'll have 3 questions right now. While I'm going through the first question by Neil, feel free to upvote those questions. So if there is a more interesting topic you want to get discussed right now, you want to upload it right now. So I see it next. So context, I'm very entry-level designer, 1.5 years experience. I think it's not super early. It's actually some experience. How important is it to spend time on creating personal branding for your portfolio website? Great question. By branding, I mean unique visuals, color palettes, witty copy, etc. Is it enough to have a simple intro landing page and well-written about section and good visuals in the case study? I really love this question. Thank you for submitting it. So, long story short, too long to read, is you don't have to have your branding. I don't even think that every senior designer have to have their branding. Branding is it's a very good thing to have at some point. However, it also comes with some risks. For example, when you're having a strong branding, you are communicating your personality very strongly. Some product companies don't want to have strong personalities with strong point of views, with strong habits of working. And some companies actually prefer hiring designers that are universal, that could fit in any product, in any context. That means your branding could be extra. I guess it will be distracting. It will be extra work. Again, just because branding tells a strong story, always, no matter if it's like a story, if it is the visuals, it tells a strong story. Like I said, with Vincent portfolio, it was very bold. So my expectation was that his personality is very bold. He would come to the room, he will take a lot of space in that room, and he would be not dominating, that's not a good word, but he would be really he would have a strong voice in the room in a workshop because you're using this very bulk font and I want to match this font with your personality. So it is helpful. But sometimes those branding nuggets, like maybe you're too bold, right? Some companies would say, I kind of want different vibe. I kind of want different designer. I want you to be universal. I want to be uh, like as simple as black and white and simple font. Vincent was black and white, but simple font, default, right? And then focus on the content only. So show me the story, show me the visuals, and show me the impact, right? And then your branding will kind of start sometimes conflicting with this, but generally, don't take again, take it with a grain of salt. General talking, it's good to have your branding. Just in some cases, some companies might take it as too much, might say, I want you to focus on the core, your value, right? Your design thinking process, and not like who you are. Branding is very much expected in the freelance scene. So if you're targeting clients, branding is a very important attribute. When you are applying as a product designer, content is your king. You want to drive the whole portfolio with the content. So you don't need to have the personal branding. It's still good. I think eventually, if you have a good branding, it should be like it should tell your story, it should tell your personality, but it should not distract from the content and telling what kind of designer you are. So it's tricky. It's like looking for that balance. But back to your question, you definitely don't need to have your personal branding. It's almost like a personal choice, and it could be helpful. But especially for early stage designers, I really do not expect you to have personal branding. I really want you to tell me how good you are in the craft. So content. Okay. Good. I'm gonna mark it as resolved. Next question is by Kim. Hi, Anfisa, you mentioned not use the UX UI designation if you are not looking for freelance work. No, no, no. I actually said if you're looking for freelance work, go for general term UX UI. And so like multiple skills, multiple applications, um, multiple applications. I don't know what to say as a word. Yeah, just kind of different sites and different experiences you had. However, if you're applying to product companies, especially as a senior designer, then the more senior and the more product company and the more UX mature company, then you need to be more expert. So selecting specific area of interest, a strong like expertise in one or another direction would be really important. The more senior you are, the more UX mature company, the more expertise you need to have. And that's like usually the rule of a thumb for application. If you're applying as a freelancer and you target in different clients, again, like still targeting is always useful, right? But if you're targeting multiple clients, especially in the startup area, then having different sites is useful because as a startup owner, I would expect you to do the landing page, I would expect you to do the app, I would expect you to do the marketing collaterals presentation because you obviously don't have a huge team, right? So you want to see different sites. So for freelancing, it's very relevant and very actual, and also for startups, very relevant and very actual. Strong UX mature companies for product design, I don't think it's a good idea just because it's a very broad application. It doesn't say you're an expert in something. You're saying, I can do anything, just pick me. You have a lot of experiences in different areas, but nothing super, you know, expert, like no deep knowledge, basically. So it's, you have to be careful with that. If you're sorry, I kind of didn't finish your question and I moved on to answering it, but so not to use designation if you're not looking for freelance work. If you're instead applying to a larger mature companies, for example, as a UX designer primarily in UX mobile web apps, it would be more appropriate to use the title product designer. Thanks. Okay, so I kind of answered your question. Good. I didn't go too far away from your question. Primarily on US web apps, would it be more appropriate to use the title product designer? So probably yes, probably, but I need to see your portfolio to tell you for sure because it depends what skills you show there. Product designer usually is it, to me it's a little bit counterintuitive, but in the market it's considered like that product designer have a bigger scope, broader scope of the work, right? So in your portfolio you'll have to show not just that you do user-centered design, right? You're talking to the user, talking to the client, and then you're delivering solutions. Product design means collaborating with a lot of teams, understanding holistical systematic approach on the company. um, Business impact is a very big one, right? Working with the KPIs and stuff like that. So that's what I expect from product designer. And if you have those aspects in the portfolio, like those things I mentioned, collaboration, business driven, obviously user research driven and stuff like that, then product design is a good title for you to go for. And so it's tricky, right? If you're doing just like web design, then I would call it marketing design is very common today. Like I see it more and more happening. And for example, in my company, we separate marketing designers. Those are the people who are working on anything that is related to the marketing. So web design, presentations, even branding and stuff like that. And then product designers. So those designers would only work on a product, developing features, working with business, users, etc. It really depends on your projects and what you communicate in those projects, basically. I hope this answers your question. Okay, and then we have another last question winner by Eva. Hey Anfisa, for senior product designer as a manager, do you expect to receive a website or a cool Notion page would be considered okay as well? So I think we slightly discussed it in a previous portfolio review session, but there is like a gradation or a range of efficiency when it comes to submitting portfolio. So on the least effective and least impactful side would be PDF. Super subjective, by the way. You don't have to take it as a set in stone kind of rule. But my gradation is, and I will explain you why in a second. First, the least accessible would be PDF. second would be Notion, and then the most effective would be website. And I think it kind of makes sense already, but PDF, it's always not the best user experience, right? If you send me the PDF, especially in Dropbox or I don't know, Google Drive, and I have to use this as like I have to download it in mobile, it's not responsive, it's heavy probably, especially I would hate if I have to download that file because the file is too heavy and maybe designer didn't optimize it to be scanning on the desktop. Sometimes, you receive links with a Dropbox link and you open it and it's heavy, so you have to download on your computer and on mobile you cannot scan it. It's the worst user experience. So you don't want to do that. But so yeah, you don't want to do that. However, you want to create the most seamless, user friendly, user mobile responsive kind of experience. And the best way to do it would be, of course, with the website. So Notion is in between, because in the Notion you cannot customize the layout. In the Notion you cannot customize your branding. It's very default, but it's responsive and it's easy to read. So I would still use it. However, when it comes to the best user experience, just go for the website. And there are a lot of website creators, not even Webflow, but other website creators that create good, that can provide good templates you can use today. So you don't even have to learn Webflow, that is very common in the market, but you can just go for as simple as like web design, kind of web portfolios, links. I think one of them is UX Folio. Then there are, I forgot all the names, but there are many of them, and I can maybe create a post around it. But yeah, there are many website builders for the portfolio templates that you can use, and you don't have to necessarily be a web designer to do it. Okay, we're actually very much out of time, and I think most of you already dropped out, so I'll not be able to finish all the questions. Maybe I will save them for later, for the next time, or maybe we'll do another session with just all the questions. I'm gonna mark it as resolved, and then maybe we'll do another Q&A session about the portfolios. But I guess that is it for now. We're out of time, unfortunately, and so yeah, thank you so much, everybody who has joined. Um, yeah, Neil, I know struggling with Webflow is a big deal, right? Framer is great. I agree. Framer is really good. I loved it as well. I tried it. Relume, it's another website. I'm gonna drop it. It's more like a website structure generator. I'm gonna just drop it here, which I really loved. It helps really with the structure, and it also has the plugin to download it to Figma and also then upload it to Webflow. You don't really have to learn Webflow from scratch because it has a library already. However, point is that I think it's really good to use templates for the web design and focus on the content and not on like learning the new skills such as web design and Webflow. Okay, super hot here, as you can see. And I think we're really over time. But again, everybody, thank you so much for joining and for participating, for your questions and for your portfolios. And as I've already mentioned, expect to join the next portfolio in 2 weeks. And yeah, that is it for today. Again, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Yana, Eric, what is it called? Harshika. I hope I spelled it correctly. And Gabi and Oskari. Thank you again. Um, yeah, thank you, Gabi. Oh, I appreciate it. um, yeah, how many projects? 2 3 projects. I agree with Oscar. 2 3 projects is enough. 4 looks good, but hiring manager will not read more than 2 projects. So don't overdo it, I guess. Cool. See you on the next sessions, guys. Have a good day. Bye bye, everybody.